Hey!
This is JJ and Alex.
I made a name for myself, I told you I won't be denied.
As you wrap up your day, it's time to get your fix of the teams you live for and the sports you love. This is JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you. Thanks for being with us here. It's JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Oh, JJ, how was your conversation with Coach Bear Torney the other day? I was like, ow.
It was great because it was before the last
I know,
two
but that's what I'm
games.
saying is like, what'd you say to him that made him feel good enough?
We had a great conversation on Friday. He was on top of the moon.
Hold on, did they? Okay.
On top of the world, I should say.
On top of the moon. He was on top
Over
of the
moon.
That was the
on
problem.
top of the world.
Yeah, that was the problem. Is he was on top of the moon, and that was far away from where these games were
I
happening.
probably need a nap. That's not a good way to start the show.
Mixed metaphors. Let's go.
Bad grammar.
I do think that I don't know. I mean, it's just the nature of athletes. It's not even about. That's not to say these guys don't care. There's a perfect storm of the Mammoth knowing that they're in the playoffs. And I'm going to admit that over the weekend I had a little bit of this thought too. You know, I don't care if they end up just taking on the Avalanche. It's fine. They're in the playoffs. And I thought to myself, we've been telling ourselves the whole time, you want to go through the Pacific. Go through the Pacific. Go through. If you're wild card one, look at those guys. They have the same amount of points as the Mammoth do. They're roughly as good as the Mammoth are. Every one of those top three teams in the Pacific. And it's a grinder right now between all those teams. If it's going to be Anaheim, I mean, right now
It's going to be Vegas.
No, I'm saying who's that third team going to be in the Pacific? You know what I mean? Like there's
Third place or
well, because that one's not locked up. Because technically the
none
Kings
of it's locked up, right?
The Kings could still outrun the Ducks.
Absolutely.
And the Ducks could fall into that wild card 2 spot.
There's still some things to sort out here, and that's why playing your best hockey this week was important, and it didn't happen over the weekend.
Now, you did share with me that Calgary is pretty good at home.
Yes, Calgary does not lose much in their barn.
I was encouraged by it because I think the thought is, oh, this team stinks and they're giving up and they're just going on to they're in the rebuild. They're going to the rebuild. And that isn't necessarily the case. They are good at home. They play well at home. Was it Scotiabank? Is that what it is?
Some Canadian company.
I love how I looked at Alex Annapolis. Hey, where do the Flames play? Tell me the name of their barn. Yeah, right. I think it's Scotiabank. Some Canadian company, all right? That's all you need to know. So, in the end...
It's the Scotiabank Saddle Dome.
Okay, there had to be some reference to the Calgary Stampede in there.
Yeah,
Throw a saddle in there, boom.
Despite the sponsorship, you still kept the Saddle Dome in there, which I like.
Have to. Anyway, welcome to the program. It's going to be a wild week. The Mammoth have 2 more games left. The math works out quickly here because I know we're going to get into the Jazz, but I just want to remind people what you reminded me before the show. Give me the maths on how this thing works for the Mammoth to be able to keep that wild card 1 spot.
Magic number on points is 93. Got to get to 93 to lock it up. The Kings' best they can do is get to 93 by winning out.
Yeah, I got to win all 3 games.
Which
that
they're on the road, but they're not playing great teams. They play the Seattle Kraken tonight, and they also finish up with at Vancouver and at Calgary. At the Saddle Dome.
Let's go, Flames.
Which is not an easy place to play. And Calgary showed you last night, that's a team that's going to battle and try to win games, even though they're well out of it. So that's where the Kings schedule lands. And, of course, Utah's going to play Winnipeg and St. Louis. And by that time, those teams will be eliminated as well. So the key here is get at least 1 more win and an overtime loss at minimum. 2 points plus 1 point in the other game gets you to 93, or just win them both and you lock it up as well. But you lose to the Jets coming up, and the Kings keep on winning Monday and Tuesday. Boy, you pucker up come Thursday.
Oh boy, yeah, you need some losses. You never want help from all the other folks. Now it's weird because Thursdays. Why are they kicking it off so early? Because it's all these clinchings that are going to be happening at the.
It must be because
at the end of the year,
because it's the last game of the year, and
it probably does that mean it's going to be
Thursday nights
like a national. Is it going to be a nationally televised thing if it's starting up at 5:30?
I didn't see national game on the schedule. I could be wrong.
Either way, it's a weird start time. I don't like it. I don't like a weird start time. Oh,
there
it's going to be on ESPN.
That's an ESPN, not an ESPN Plus Hulu, but
ESPN, Disney Junior. You could tune into all of it. You'll be able to see it.
Another interesting factor here that we have to measure is Anaheim could fall out to wild card 2. They finish with at Minnesota and at Nashville.
Those are two tough.
And Nashville's
tough
still
outs.
in the mix, by the way.
Yeah,
for that wild card 2.
Because they're at 86 or 87.
Anaheim
86.
and Nashville could be playing for the wild card 2 on Thursday night.
That's awesome. Well, like you said, if you win one of the next two, your last two, if you're the Mammoth, you have 90 points right now. You go to 92. If you get just a overtime loss and a win, you just need to go 1-0-1.
That gets it done.
That gets you to that wild card 1 spot. So
and the Golden Knights. Well, I know we got to get the Jazz. Just finish the point though. Golden Knights playing the Jets at home, and the Kraken at home. The Knights are the most likely team right now to win that division, and that would be the most likely first-round opponent for the Utah Mammoth if they finish with a wild card number 1.
Well, is that all clear, everybody? Now we got all that worked out.
It's going to be a fun week.
Stay tuned for a while how the basketball draft is going to go. It's going to be decided by a freaking coin toss. You know why? Because even the terrible teams in this league, they can't even tank right. They don't even know how to tank right. It's good for the Jazz, though. Let's kick things off here officially. Let's get everything started and get talking about this Utah Jazz regular season that's been over. And, of course, the offseason is the more interesting part for us. But let's do it with the cut. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right. Here's what we got. There is obviously something that we were all looking forward to, and that was the end of this regular season. It couldn't have come soon enough. The last 2 seasons, we were ready to just be done looking at, thinking about all of these. We didn't want to ever think about this again. And I'm extremely disappointed that the Jazz ended up with 22 wins with a historic blowout of the Memphis Grizzlies. Could we look at that and actually tell ourselves that might be the worst game in NBA history? Think about it.
I don't think we've ever had 2 teams trying to lose so hard.
And one tried to lose so hard that they lost by 50 to another team who was probably trying to lose also at some point. You will never see the mention of who these cats are ever again getting triple doubles. I'm not ripping on John Contra. I'm not ripping on Kennedy Chandler. I'm not.
Congratulations to Mezem Bang for getting a triple double in the NBA.
Listen, all these guys
took full advantage of his opportunity.
But those career highs in points are probably going to stay there for those guys for the rest of their career. I'm not ripping on what I'm saying is that this is what the Jazz had. When was the last time you mentioned Keontae George's name with some significance behind it? It could have been 5 months at this point. That's what it feels like.
It's been a while.
I mean, it was right after the All-Star break, right? I think, or maybe
the
a month
ankle
after?
injuries, and then they pretty much shelved him.
And then the hammy, you have the ankle and the hammy. You can't do anything with that.
And we get why. It's okay.
And if Nurk's nose is hurt, you can't play the guy.
He can hardly breathe.
He should do the Breathe Right strip commercials.
Oh,
you want to broke
some
nose?
CPAP something.
He's like, after breaking nose,
no more CPAP machine.
I was able to play basketball because I got new Breathe Right strip. I don't know if his accent's not that thick. Come on. But the Jazz end up going 22-60 on the season. And then on top of it, the Kings have also found a way to go 22-60 on the season. Doug Christie's squad turned it up.
They really
for the
did.
Coach. They're keeping him, right?
They are.
They're keeping him. They're keeping
After
Doug
an
Christie.
We by the NBA showed that the
He's
Kings
bad.
weren't trying to tank. He's just that incompetent.
He's not a good coach.
They decided we're going to roll it back.
Okay. We hardly knew ye, by the way, Doc Rivers. We knew it was going to happen, And he tried to get ahead of it by saying, can't wait to spend some time with my grandkids. And you're like, Doc, save it.
Yeah.
Because then the Bucks are all, we're moving on from Doc Rivers. He's like, no, I'm moving on from you. I need to see my grandkids.
Uh-huh.
So that chapter in Milwaukee ends. What are they going to do with Giannis? Don't know. So all these things have to be answered. But in the end, we wanted the coin toss. We thought we were maybe going to get it with a 21-63 or a 21-61 situation by both of those teams. Instead, both go 22-60. What are the odds that the Jazz win that coin toss, JJ?
0.
I'm committed this week.
Because this franchise is cursed.
When is the – so they have to do it after the play-in, right?
Yes.
So they have to do the coin toss after the play-in. I want to, at the top of every show this week, I want to do a coin flip. And by the end of the week –
we've been doing lottery simulators. Why not?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Let's do the coin toss. And by the end of the week, what we'll have is we'll have an odd number of days during the week. And so we'll be able to have somebody's going to win 4-1. Somebody's going to win 3-2. But somebody's going to win. And then we'll be able to tell you if the Jazz have a chance. At least that's 50-50. At least it feels like it.
Yeah. So if the Jazz lose that coin flip, they will be in the 5th spot in the lottery odds. They have a 99.3% chance to keep that pick in the top 8. But there is that 0.7%. And that 0.7% chance just feels like, if you know the Jazz history, instead of winning the lottery, that's the 0.7 chance they'll hit on.
Okay. Well,
so you're just like, it's just so nerve-wracking.
When we look back at this season, what is going to be the thought? Is it just going to be lumped in with the 4 years of walking through the desert with no water?
A little bit different.
Because this year, with the extra, now they got fined last year for sitting Lowry, right?
Yeah.
But they got fined this year $500,000 as a franchise to just say, hey, you guys are overdoing it in a league that overdoes it every year. And so that's the part to me that I think is pretty interesting is how on earth are you supposed to figure out who this team is going forward? Don't know yet. Have to wait for that pick. But I think as soon as the regular season just ended with the Jazz, we can all move on and not have to make up in our minds the insanity of the development of Mezembang, even Cody Williams. The reality is there are going to be names that are not on this roster going forward probably. Obviously, a lot of these younger guys are not going to be on this team. The starting 5 for the Jazz next year is in the works because you're waiting. Are they waiting to start somebody who's going to get drafted? Do you think that there's going to be? Is there a version of if AJ DeBonsa if let's say they win the lottery, or let's say they even get the first or second pick, and let's say the first pick they take Cam Boozer or Darren Peterson. Let's say the Jazz get AJ DeBonsa somehow in that second or third pick. I think he's going to go 1, but whatever. Let's say the Jazz somehow get him. Does he start on this team next year?
If he's better than everybody at that position on the roster, yes.
Well, yes.
Who are the guys? Who's he competing against if he was on that team?
Ace Bailey. Is he competing against Ace?
Yeah. Larry Markkinen?
Probably not going to take his spot. Definitely not. Come on. You can't. No, there's no way. You gave like a look like, there's no way he's going to be starting ahead of Larry Markkinen just for the $40 million factor that Lowry gets every year.
Well, I think you would look at the 2 spot, and that's probably where you would the debate would be Ace or AJ in that scenario. Okay. How many guys in this lottery right now would start for the Utah Jazz next year? 1, maybe 2.
Okay.
Would Cam Boozer start ahead of
I don't think so.
Jaren Jackson Jr.?
No.
Okay, so there you go.
There you go.
That's how good the Jazz are going to be next year.
I wonder what it looks like. I have hope from looking at teams like Houston, from looking at teams like obviously San Antonio. You look at Detroit on the Eastern in the Eastern
top
Conference.
Of the standings on both sides.
They are teams that have built very, very quickly.
How do you think the Celtics became a champion?
How do you think that the Thunder got to where they are?
Exactly.
Drafting, a little bit of luck on top of it. That hasn't necessarily come the Jazz way, but Danny and Austin Age have, and they're gunslingers, man. So I'm interested to see what they do. The coin toss might be my favorite thing in sports to decide playoffs or to decide, in this case, the draft lottery. So I love it. But in the end, the best thing that we could take out of this year, JJ, from this team?
Player development.
And is it the development and the leap that Keontae George is first and foremost.
You had to know that there were fruits from your labor. 4 years of drafting and developing, you had to find a guy that was going to be a star, and you did. It's Keontae George. Now, there was a lot of other young talent you found and developed and got better. The question now is, moving forward, are you keeping Bryce Sensabaugh and Isaiah Collier and Kyle Filipowski and Cody Williams? Or do you cash in on the development those guys have made because they are so valuable around the league now because they've been able to showcase what they can do, that you use that young talent in trades that help your draft position and or help you get veterans that are going to help you win next year and make a run? I'm going to be very interested to see what the front office does with these young players, because I think it's been said by Danny Ainge on the radio that you can't win with that many young guys. And sure enough, you look at what the Jazz have done over the last 4 years. They've been very young, and the wins, even when they're trying, are hard to come by. So the Jazz are going to look a lot different next year, I think. Yeah, you set a franchise record for playing 25 different guys this year. You were part of a tanking era in NBA history that saw 8 teams finish with losses of 55 or more for the first time in NBA history. This is a dark era in NBA history. It is. It sucks. The league is not in a good place. The league has to make some changes. The league has to take a long look at what it's doing right now and figure out where its place is in sports. Sure. And where they are with consumers and what people are looking for when it comes to sports consumption. Are fans happy with what they're seeing? Is this good TV when you tune in and you watch the Spurs beat the Sixers by 40 on NBC because 3 of the stars for the Sixers aren't playing? Is this good for the league? Is that what the TV partners want out of this? This league has a lot of questions to answer. And in the midst of all this is the Utah Jazz in their corner of the world trying to figure out, where do we fit in this next world of the NBA? Where do we fit now? How do we compete with the Spurs and Thunder and the top teams in the league? What are we building, and how do we win a championship? What is the next thing that we need to do in order to make that happen? So they're doing this construction of a contender at the same time while the NBA is going through some kind of weird era. And I don't know how to describe it any other way, because there's all these things going on with the league that aren't positive that they've got to address. What does that mean moving forward for the future of the Utah Jazz? We're going to watch that play out, and this front office has some challenges and decisions to make that'll be interesting to watch. And a lot of those challenges and a lot of those decisions will be made looking at who's above them in the standings. There's a lot of good teams in the West. Obviously, the NBA is very top-heavy. I mean, the Nuggets just finished the season winning 12 games in a row. They're not going away. The Lakers have Luka moving forward. The Rockets, even though Kevin Durant is older, that's still a young team. The Minnesota Timberwolves have Anthony Edwards, and they're always going to be a factor when they have him. The Blazers are up and coming. The Suns are always going to be competitive because their owner has money. The Clippers, their owner has money. So there's not many teams, and the Dallas Mavericks aren't going to be down for long either. You get my point? Like, all these teams are going to be trying to win. How are you competing with them? And what does the future of the NBA look like? How is it going to change? What tweaks is the league going to do to try to improve its product and address some of these negative things going on?
Do you remember you and I were both in Oakland staying at that fine Holiday Inn right next to the Coliseum?
Great memories. Oracle Arena.
Where they told us, do not walk out there without a group.
Yep.
Please. And our hotel had like 19-foot like razor wire above the deal. Wonderful place. And we had to go back and forth. You remember we kept having to go to practices in San Francisco, and then I had to come back
across the bridge every day.
It was super annoying for those 3 days. That was peak Golden State, right? That was, I mean, they weren't even going to get close to losing a game in that series to the Jazz, right?
No.
And I think the Jazz had just beaten the Rockets, maybe. No. That was a year after. They beat
the Clippers that year.
It was the Clippers, and then the next year was Houston.
You remember Joe Johnson shot in Game 1, and that series went to Game 7, and then I was at Game 7 in L.A. They win, and then I was on a plane to Oakland.
As soon as we get to Oakland, it was really funny because then we're looking at this team that is in the midst of, a dynasty. I think we could say the Golden State Warriors during that stretch were a dynasty.
No question.
And now that Golden State team is limping into oblivion, and the thing they have going for him, Steph Curry still has the jersey sales, and they're going to hang on to that until whenever.
It worked for the Lakers and Kobe.
These windows, they were able to keep that window open for an exceptionally long time.
Yep.
I mean, the 2021 championship was a bonus, right? I mean,
Crazy. That was
it was insane.
House money.
It was awesome.
Yep.
And that's why it was cool, because then you're like, yeah, then they came back and got another one. And that team, I think people looked at and go, and this is how we're going to see this blueprint from now on. And there is no blueprint. There is no blueprint unless you follow something totally different right now, which is what San Antonio are doing, which is what the only way that you build rosters now in the NBA. It's with your draft classes, which is why it's at a premium to lose. There's no such thing as free agency. You can make bonkers trades, but what are you trading? Usually draft picks. A lot of first rounders too, and for big names. And so you can be in San Antonio and continue to just show people, small market my butt. We just freaking are they are the most impressive story in, I think, all of professional sports when it comes to stringing together multiple high-level world championships in a place that people go, no thanks. That people would say, don't want to play there. Normally, right?
Yeah.
And we got to see the best basketball roll through there for years. And right now, they're firing it right back up again. It's going to be wild to watch. I was never a believer fully of Wemby. It just seems so different. He looks so different on the court that I'm like, how does this work?
Guy that's 7'3", knocking down three-pointers at almost a 40% clip.
But he's at the three-point line. He takes 2 steps and then he's dunking it. We have seen a lot of crazy
Feels
athletes
like a
in this
cheat
league.
code.
It does. How about the Detroit Pistons, who skip steps? The steps you skip in the NBA are based off of what the Jazz are going to be doing in the next few weeks. With the coin toss, with the draft lottery. That's why people are always pissed and talking about whether or not this thing's rigged or not. Because some teams seem to find that luck. And for the Jazz, they've never had to rely on it. They just built teams and then they coached the hell out of them. And they got to the playoffs, man.
They're due. They need some luck. It's time.
That's what I'm saying.
It's their year.
So whether or not the Jazz are going to be a San Antonio Spurs or a Detroit Pistons, probably not. But again, I use those examples because people don't look at those markets and go, man, you want to play at Boston if you're a young basketball player. You see the Celtics pop up and you're like, I want to be there.
That's tradition.
But these other markets that are able, Oklahoma City, my Sonics. I'm going to still say it until we actually get a team. My Supersonics winning a world championship with SGA. Yeah, no, I know it's not right.
Doesn't work.
But you see what I'm saying here.
Yeah.
All right, we got through the season. Did we though? Because it was a freaking slog.
It was hard.
It's
not just getting through this season. It was getting through a 4-year period of a rebuild that was tough. And I think that a lot of fans listening, they want to get back on board with the Jazz, but it's been tough too. And a lot of people have checked out. And now the Jazz are going to have to earn and win those people back. And they'll have to do that by winning at a high rate.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go right around the corner. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Accessing.
When TV and radio collide,
Love it.
this is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex
Don't touch that dial.
on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen. Did you watch the Masters yesterday? So did you watch some golf
Masters?
yesterday?
No, I didn't know what I did. What are you talking about? Yes, Alex, I watched the Masters.
The unfortunate thing is
Had highlights on KSL Sports Live at 10:45.
I was going to say, the unfortunate thing is the highlights that my kids watched were all of the fake AI Tiger Woods crashing his car at the course.
Which I sent to you guys
memes.
today.
You said that's another one that was
I'm
actually
as
the
bad
most
as a teenager.
That was the most wild I've ever seen. The whole thing, top to bottom. What's the guy's name? Ridley. The last name. What's his first name? The chairman of
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott. The faces that he was making in this fake video, when Tiger rolls up and rolls his car to get there to congratulate Rory, I'm like, this is awful. This is in poor taste. Anyway, send. That's what you. Oh, this is in poor taste. How dare you send it to my son?
I'll probably get fired for sending you guys that video, but that's all right.
Oh, come on. It's not like we're putting it out there and going, did you guys see what happened over the weekend? The thing that happened over the weekend was we were this close when it was, I think there were 5 guys at one point at 10 under. I think that 10 under, there ended up being 4 that were technically in that third place position. Which, by the way, did you see the payouts this year?
Massive.
It used to be the entire payout, like even just 3 years ago, was what Rory got yesterday. $4.5 million for the winner. I've never seen it that high. 2.4 for second place for Scotty Scheffler. Not a bad day's work.
Crazy cool.
And as you go through, it was just a crazy weekend. And I was just loving how that thing went down. So we'll
Can you imagine winning $4.5 million in a weekend?
No, he needed it too. He was.
Yeah, because he's already blown the $4.5 million he won last year. Hey, what a great story. Rory's awesome.
Got to put Poppy through school. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think my favorite story was he skipped those other events at the very beginning of the year. Didn't go to Texas for either the Valero or the Houston Children's Open, whatever those.
Right.
I think the Valero's in San Antonio, right?
Yes.
He's like, I'm not going to San Antonio. I'm not going to Houston. He was at home with his family. And then he dropped Poppy off at school, go to the private airfield, fly to Augusta, play as many rounds as he could get in, probably a couple rounds, and then he'd go back to the private airport, fly home, pick up Poppy from school, and then they'd have dinner. Crazy. And so do you think that type of preparation was? That's not insignificant. Now, what's interesting too is he can't just go play it. He has to have a member that vouches for him. It doesn't matter.
Can you imagine?
No. Nick Faldo's like, I can't play it unless I get a member to sponsor me. And you're like, what? You won it 3 freaking times, Sir Nick Faldo?
Isn't that crazy?
And they're all, can't take your jacket with you. Can't go play golf there whenever you want. I can't get a membership. No, these guys can't. It's so freaking hard. So, yeah, it was a fun weekend being able to watch that. What was not fun, and we'll get back to the hockey in a little while. What was not fun was these last 2 games for the Mammoth, and I don't want to minimize it. However, the Mammoth are in the playoffs. I don't want to miss that. It's a big deal. Second year in Utah, they're going to the playoffs for the first time ever with this head coach. These young kids, all of them are going to be in the playoffs for the first time, and that's who you're building this. The amount of experience they're going to get in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs is going to be well spent. I don't care if they lose to the Avs 4-1 in the first round. They're going to learn a lot about what it takes to be a playoff team. What they are is tough, and that you have to be just absolutely bonkers tough in these Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm interested to see what the Avs are going to do. I don't know if Wild Card 1 is going to go to Utah's way. If it doesn't, there are some things with Colorado that you're like, they outscore everybody by a cajillion. They've also given up the most shorthanded goals of any team in the entire league this year.
Odd.
They also have the 27th worst power play. They are great 5-on-5. Guess who else is? The Utah Mammoth. One of the best 5-on-5 teams in the entire league. I would love, for the sake of promoting that game that's going to be at Rice Eccles, part of me gave into, you know what? If it is Colorado, I love it. Because if we want to make that thing a rivalry, they are not interested right now, by the way. This is like the old Utah USC, like, oh, yeah, we're rivals. And USC's like, not really. We have like 7 other rivals. And maybe that's going to have to be the case with Colorado for a minute. I wish they were in the I wish we could see them more often. But at the same time, these are divisional folks that you could play. And I got used to the idea of the Avs and the Mammoth, and I don't think it would be as much of a blowout as people might be thinking. I might be dead wrong. I'm not preferring that, certainly, to taking on whoever the weirdos are at the top of the Pacific. I can never get straight. Is it going to be Vegas?
Odds are at this point, after the results of the weekend,
but
yes.
But the top 3 teams are separated by 1 point. I think it's 91, 90, 90.
Sure. It's just the schedule favors.
Right. Okay. So I get it. But, man, losing these last two, for the Mammoth to lose at home against Carolina, I got that one. That's a really, really good team. That team could very well be in the Stanley Cup final.
I've got the data right here if you want me to exactly look up the odds. So the first in division, Edmonton's now down to 28.8%. The where are the Golden Knights here? Where'd you go, Golden Knights?
They're at the top of the Pacific, man.
Well, I know that. I'm trying to find.
There
They are. I got it.
It's in Las Vegas.
62% chance.
Oh, okay.
The Vegas Golden Knights have a 62% chance, and they actually have the third best chance on this whole list to make the second round. That's interesting.
I think because they might be favored against Utah or
They have the third best odds to win the Cup.
that. Now that
Colorado, 12.7, Carolina, 12, Vegas, 10.3%
there's no
odds.
way. Why would we ever?
According to Money Puck.
Is the idea that the West is strong enough that if the Kings were able
It's
to
the path.
if the Kings were able to get to the conference finals against the Avs, or maybe if the Avs get upset by either Dallas or the Wild in the second round, which is what that'd be the path they have to go through, right? You have to look at it and go, those are two very, very, very good teams. They could lose to them. And I think the odds are there because LA doesn't have to go through that gauntlet, right? So if that's the case, LA could be they could also definitely be one of the teams that is just overrated, not very good in the playoffs. But
I think
up.
the LA Kings are not good. Look at their record. How many overtime losses do they have?
What is
this
it,
year?
17, 18?
It's insane.
It's the most that there's ever been.
I think it's an NHL record. 19. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights have 17.
Yeah, they broke the record with 18, I think. And
The Kings have 19 overtime losses. So 19 of their 87 points come from overtime losses. Now, you credit them for being scrappy and getting to those overtimes.
You lost those games, though.
Right.
Yeah.
They only have 34 wins this season.
How many does Utah have? 40, 41?
Utah has 42.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely one more.
The Kings have the same amount of – they only have one more win this year than the Calgary Flames, who have the second worst point total in the NHL.
See, this is where I think people –
So this is how you find out who the frauds are.
Yeah, the NHL is going, I know we've tried to fix the system here so that we can have the best possible outcome. And the one-pointers for overtime losses, it's hard, but, you don't want to end in a tie. You don't want to be soccer, but you also don't want – it's just hard because awarding a point in a loss because you've got to an extra frame, it's interesting. But it's how the NHL operates.
I told you that if the NHL had the 1 through 8 format the NBA does, right now the Mammoth would be in the 5 spot, just 1 point behind the 4 spot in the Golden Knights.
Okay. This is all confusing, but
and the Mammoth could
I'm here for all
this
of it.
week win home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs.
Home ice. How dare you?
I'm sorry.
It is probably
Old
a court.
habits die
It is
hard.
probably a court right now, though. No, they'd probably throw that thing all the way down.
Yeah, now the Jazz are done, so that ice is
Just
going to stay there for a while.
Just ice for a while.
So yeah, the Mammoth need to get this done. And I mentioned the odds. Let me throw out the wild card 1 odds for the Mammoth. For those of you that are like, they're gonna blow it, 93.9% that they're gonna win that wild card 1.
Still though, I don't know
the Kings
why.
basically have to win out.
Yeah, they do. They have to win all
Now,
three of their games.
Their schedule's easy, so it's possible, but they have to win out.
Okay. All right. But the clinching the playoff spot, I got to hear when you asked Coach Bear about it. I know he was just trying to be like, hey, this is what we work for. He's just a workman, going through there. But how big of a deal is it for that guy? Because at some point during November, we were looking at each other and going, I think Bear is in a really, really awkward spot right now.
No, I think it meant a lot to him. And we went to talk to him on Friday. He was willing to acknowledge it because I set it up like, we understand there's work to be done, but you guys you've been through a lot. You and your staff and the players that were in Arizona have been through a lot. This has to be really special for you guys to get to this point and see that the fruits of your labor have come to fruition. And he's like, yeah, it is gratifying for them, even though they still have work to do. So this is a special moment for them. And maybe that contributed a little bit over the weekend to a little bit of a little bit of air coming out. Like we're all human beings. You get to something, it's like, oh, we got it. And then you have a tendency to want to rest and to step back a little bit because it's so hard to get there. I think this team will recalibrate this week. They know that they've got 2 games left to get this done, and they need to go into the playoffs with momentum. What we saw over the weekend was not them, and I don't think that's the kind of momentum they want to take into this playoff appearance, their first ever for the franchise.
Getting to the playoffs is one thing. The Stanley Cup playoffs become something totally different. We've seen 8-1 upsets in this league quite often. The NHL has a reputation of it being so much more competitive in the playoffs than even your NBA games, your NFL playoffs. And so I'm interested to see if whatever the level is that the Mammoth dial up to in the playoffs, if they can step up to that. Obviously, their opponents are going to be doing the same thing. And some of them are going to have way more experience in the playoffs than the Mammoth. Don't care. Got all these young guys. They got all this youth on their side. Did they have we heard an update on some of the lower
I didn't hear
body
anything
injuries?
on Sergachev. I know he got dinged up in that game. It must not have been major. I didn't hear a word.
Okay. So going in relatively healthy to the playoffs.
Yeah, is McBain ready? Is Hayton ready? That's what we want.
Sure.
to know.
All right. We'll take a break here. We'll come back. When we do, we have our Weekend Warriors, people who won the weekend here for us. Top of the hour, Jake Scott, Utah Jazz pre-half and post-game host, and, of course, host of Jake and Ben, going to join us and talk some Jazz and wrapping up the season and hopefully put a bow on it that feels finalized with this team this year, 2024, 2020, or 2025, 2026. 2024 was way worse from a winning perspective, but this one felt worse overall. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest name.
You're locked into JJ and Alex. With the insight and analysis on the teams you can't live without. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you. It is JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for tuning in. In about 10 minutes or so, we're going to be chatting with Jake Scott. Wrap up the you know what? Jake isn't a game-by-game guy in the, he's a better 30,000-foot view guy than I think a lot of us are. And that's a guy who is right up against it, obviously covering all the games, doing the pre-half and post. I'm interested to see what his thoughts are on how this thing goes down in the offseason. You throw in a coin toss to make it even more fun. Should we be live from the coin toss? Where are they doing it? Madison Square Garden? Probably in the middle of Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sell tickets.
That's what I'm saying.
We'd be there. Turn it into a TV show.
We do our coin toss roundtable.
Can we stream that?
Coin toss roundtable at JCW's. I'm just saying it's an option. Why not? Waiting on one result. Weekend Warriors, people who won the weekend here for us. Let's start with the Jazz, since we're talking. We've had so many things to say about this team in the negative. We've also seen a lot of that player development, and of course, a couple of guys who continued to impress even through the final game of the season. Bez and Bang and John Conchar. Take a listen.
All right, we go under 4 minutes with Bez not having a rebound. And there was Conchar to the window, triple-double. John Conchar with back-to-back triple-doubles. 3 no good. M-Bang rebound, M-Bang triple-double. Jazz bench explodes. Bez goes coast to coast. Layup good. Technical foul of the Jazz bench for over-celebrating. Of course they are. It's the Bez M-Bang triple-double night.
That's pretty fun. I don't care. If you're wondering if you're wondering if the team was into it, when you guys are all on the floor getting teed up, that's pretty awesome. What was the actual final? What was the actual final points that they won by? Is it 48?
Against
Something
the Grizzlies?
Like that. Yeah.
I've already forgotten.
Yeah.
I've already moved on.
And then, of course,
season's over.
I honestly thought he wouldn't have had it. I thought he wasn't going to have it. I thought that, this stage was been big for him before, and I thought he was going to go right back to it again. And we were going to see Scotty Scheffler do his thing. Scotty Scheffler made an effort, man, those last 2 days. He was down 12 strokes going into the weekend. He went 10 under on Saturday and Sunday. Not enough to knock off the King, who's now one of the very few to go back-to-back in Masters history.
And here we go. His year again. Rory is a rare repeat winner at Augusta.
there you go. It was pretty fun to watch. Now, he made it interesting by hitting his 18th drive into the 10th fairway. But because it went that far over, when I saw the shot tracker, I was like, oh no.
All right. He had a couple moments there.
Oh, it's crazy. And then because Scotty
had already blown the 6-shot lead, right? So this is Rory really in the past, maybe Rory would have crumbled. Boy, the mental toughness and fortitude that he showed in this Masters was phenomenal. He could have collapsed and he didn't.
We'll come right back. We've got more to go. Jake Scott's going to join us next. Put a bow on this Jazz season, hopefully for good. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.